Hey folks, welcome to Behind the Line, coming to you from the Marxist, Socialist, Communist lines of Washington State and the Pacific Northwest. Today is November 12th, Thursday. We're going to be talking about how Inslee has been put on Biden's shortlist for the Department of Energy Secretary. So Inslee apparently has been mentioned for a cabinet post in the Biden administration for Secretary of the Department of Energy, and this was talked about a little before the election. And he promised how he was going to, if reelected, stay in as governor for full term, but it's looking like that probably won't happen. Inslee's always made climate change a priority in Washington State, saying he supports the Green New Deal and wanting to do away with fossil fuels. Biden has apparently already adopted much of Inslee's climate plan. Biden was quoted as saying the instruction manual is all there, and he, Inslee, wrote a lot of it and has a tremendous amount of experience actually delivering on it in Washington State. And like I said, Inslee made previous promises to serve his full term of governor if reelected, stating, and I quote, "Yes, that's my intention, and that's what I would do." But we all know that Inslee doesn't keep his promises all that often. Inslee co-founded the U.S. Climate Alliance in 2017 after President Trump removed the U.S. from the Paris Climate Accord. The legislation includes things like a clean energy fund, taxes, an aggressive electric vehicle initiative, and encouraging wind and solar development. Inslee wants 100% clean energy in the next 25 years, eliminating all coal-produced power by 2025, and all carbon-neutral electricity by 2030. No fossil fuels by 2045. He wants all utilities to produce energy with solar, wind, and hydropower. Of course, what they don't talk about is what this will do to the price of your electricity, which will cause it to skyrocket because of all the costs involved in transitioning to this type of energy. They also don't talk about reliability, which will be much less with solar, especially in this region, and wind, which does not create enough energy for the current demand. He says he will ensure low-income people will be able to afford it, but what's considered low income? And where will the state get the money to pay for low-income people, especially now that COVID has decimated state reserves? They say in the bill they want to prioritize increasing family wages so it does not impact families who can't afford increased costs. So raise your wages so they can take it from you, basically. Creating a clean energy fund just means more taxes for you and I who work. Washington State is already one of the highest tax states in the U.S. I don't know about you, but I can't afford to pay any more taxes. He wants zero-emission transportation, vehicles, and transit. That means everyone in this state will have to have an electric car. So can you afford to just go out and buy a new car? And what about semi-trucks? And what about semi-trucks from out of state? I mean, we still have to have goods transported in and around the state. And right now, there's no feasible option for electric semi-trucks. And when we talk about transit, King County is the biggest transit provider in the state. And can they afford to electrify its entire fleet of buses? And the answer to that is no. There's thousands of buses in King County's fleet, to the tune of almost $1 million each. And they can't even afford to keep all their drivers right now with the hit they've taken due to COVID. So how are they going to pay for all brand new electric buses? He wants to electrify the ferry fleet as well, and they can hardly afford to keep the old ferries they have running now. So where is all this money going to come from? Inslee wants new buildings to conform to his carbon emission standards as well, and all the old ones to be retrofitted. Again, this is more costs that people are unable to absorb. Reading through his bill, it also appears he wants to be able to limit the amount of energy these buildings get. So what does that mean? Too many air conditioners running? Shut them down. Too much heat being used? Shut it down. Temporary brownouts to conserve energy? He also wants all lighting and appliances changed to energy efficient. I don't know about you, but I can't afford to just go out and buy a bunch of new expensive appliances. He claims his energy initiatives have helped make Washington one of the lowest energy costs in the U.S. as far as us paying for our electricity. And Washington currently ranks in the lowest 10 states for energy costs. However, we're following in the footsteps of California with many of these initiatives, and he signed on with pacts with California and this and that. And California currently ranks in the top 10 most expensive in the U.S. In Washington, we currently pay about $9.92 per kilowatt hour. Californians are paying 20.77 cents per kilowatt hour. It's safe to assume that Washington residents will be paying those kind of rates if we continue down this path. The money for these changes and increased costs will have to come from somewhere, and the state will not be able to absorb these costs. Inslee is also targeting HFC superpollutants, that's hydrofluorocarbons, that can be thousands of times more damaging than carbon dioxide, he touts. Mainly this is targeting heat pumps and air conditioners. So again, how many people have purchased heat pumps to lower your electric bill over the last 20 years? Now we're talking about having to replace them with green-friendly equipment or replace them using climate-safe alternatives, but they don't specify what that is or how to do it. So does this mean we're going back to using fans instead of air conditioners in the summer? Electric heat in the winter? And they've already tried to do away with wood heat, and many counties already ban using wood stoves or fireplaces unless it's your only source of heat. So can you afford to buy all this new equipment? If Inslee gets this job as the Department of Energy Secretary, you can expect this agenda to be pushed on every state. Probably even more radical ideas like are found in the Green New Deal, which Biden and Inslee both support. The DOE's primary function is building and securing nuclear weapons, including managing nuclear weapon sites like Hanford. Kind of a scary job to be putting Inslee in charge of, I would say. All in all, if he's pushing this agenda and it goes through, it's pretty scary for all of us financially, and hoping we still have the same reliable utilities we've been used to. You should also know that most state Republicans supported this bill when it passed here in Washington in April 2019. Washington is headed down a scary, very expensive path. You should enjoy that electricity while you can still afford it and have it. I guess the only good news out of this whole thing could be that Washington State will lose Inslee as governor, and we'll have Denny Heck, and maybe we'll have a little bit more of a moderate governor, but he'll be pushing his crazy agenda on the national level. Well, that's it for today, folks. Have a good day.